used to call him the North Dakota Assassin. Now we just call him Woogie, because if he gets stressed out, he starts getting all them big marks on his face. But I got just one word for him for this week. One word he has to remember. Pain. Dallas still stinks. You're by doing King Dingbat here, so we used to call him the North Dakota Assassin. But now, we just call him Woogie. Because when he gets stressed out, you know what happens. But I got one word for him this weekend. Pain. That's right, pain. Now, we're going to get into it in a second because the Eagles are going to take on Carson Wentz and Washington Commies or Commanders, whatever they call themselves. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure to hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe for daily Eagles content, NFL content. You don't want to miss it. And if you've been subscribed for a while, you know the deal. Just double check, double moonwalk check. Make sure you're still subscribed because you know how YouTube does it. Now, as you know, the Eagles take on Carson Wentz and the Washington Commies, Commanders, whatever it is. I hate their logo. I hate their new name. I hate it. I think it all stinks. I mean, how can you have a classic, like, historical, unbelievable division, the NFC East, and you have the Giants, you have the Cowboys. Say what you want about those teams. We hate them, but they're historical franchises. Philadelphia Eagles, another historical franchise. Now you have the Washington Commanders. So stupid, so stupid, so stupid. But stupid is stupid does, I guess. That's what they say. Now, speaking of stupid, Woogie was having a press conference today, okay? And I gotta talk about Woogie because everybody's acting like this is Carson Wentz's chance to get revenge on the Philadelphia Eagles. He's gonna go out there and this is his turn. It was Jalen Regular's last week. Now it's Woogie's. Well, the thing about it is this. Okay? It's not Woogie who needs revenge. It's the Philadelphia Eagles who needs revenge. Because it was Woogie who quit on the Eagles. Let's go back to the Seattle game. First playoff game, right? We go back to, what was that, 2019? 2019. He's on a good streak. He's looking great. Unbelievable pass against his now team to Miles Sanders back of the end zone. Eagles make the playoffs. He goes in the first quarter, gets a concussion. Goes to the locker room with his wife, Napoleon, a.k.a. Howie Roseman, Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. Goes into the locker room. He's like, get your ass out on the field and play football. This team needs you now. And he's going, and his wife's crying, and Howie's got his Napoleon hat on, his pocket pencil protector, and he's like, calculate the calculations, like, you're going to be fine, get on the field. He didn't. Then, we go into what? The next season, absolute horrendous, right? The Eagles draft Jalen Hurts. He's horrible. I mean, he's horrible. He gets benched. Then he goes into the offseason, and he has a chance to say, I am going to reclaim being quarterback number one. I am going to keep and fight for my franchise quarterback position here in Philly. I have pride in myself. I have pride in my team. I have pride in this organization. Jalen Hurts is a good young quarterback, but I am going to go head-to-head with him, and I'm going to prove to this team that I can beat him out. That's what a winner does. But what does Carson Wentz, what does Woogie do? Ask for a trade. Request a trade. I need to be traded. I need to be traded. I got to get traded. I got to get traded. Gets traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Never explains himself, never tells his side of the story. Just that's it. That's it. Then he's over there with Indy, chokes. Woogie gets traded to Washington, where he is hanging out with a lot of weird people out in Washington, from what I'm hearing. A lot of weird things go out in Washington. A lot of weird things. And I think he's in on it. Okay? But in all seriousness, he was at a press conference today, and he was talking about playing Philly. What this stupid dog? Shut up! Somebody feed your dog. God. All right, so here's what Carson says. Carson Wentz says in his time in Philly was a, quote, whirlwind, a wild ride. He says, looking back, there were some times where he could have been a better person, a better teammate. You think? I mean, you think? He has grown a lot from his experience in Philly. Well, we'll see. We'll see how much he's grown, right? Because the truth of the matter is they're going to act like this is Carson's revenge game, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't the Eagles that didn't want Carson. It was Carson that didn't want to play for the Eagles. So this is my problem with this whole thing this week. It's not about Carson Wentz getting revenge on the Eagles. It's about the Eagles getting revenge on Carson. I look at it that way. Like, you wanted out. You quit on this team. You quit. Okay? And nobody was a bigger backer of Carson Wentz than me. You go back, you watch my videos. I stuck up for this guy all the time. I gave him every chance. I really believed that what we saw in 2017 was going to be repeated year after year after year after year. I thought the end of 2019 season, I thought he was playing fantastic football before his concussion. I don't think he was ever the same since his concussion. Okay? Maybe he's finally back on track because his numbers really aren't that bad this year. Carson, he's thrown 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 51.7, which isn't great. 650 yards, which is second. So he's tied for first in touchdown passes, tied for 27th in interceptions, tied or in second place in yards thrown. Now, some of that is overblown because if you look at that game versus Detroit, he had no choice but to throw. They were down 22-0. So I don't know if it's a little bit of an overblown stat. You know what I'm saying? But my thoughts on this on Carson. I don't wish ill will to Carson. I don't wish bad luck on him. But he's with a rival now. He plays with a rival, and that's it. That's all I know. And when you play in the NFC East and you play on another team, I root against you. I root against you every week, and I'm going to root against. When he ends up, when he was in ASC with the Colts, and we had their first round pick, but let's say he was still with the Colts, I would root for the guy, sure, no problem. But he's in Washington. Now he's the enemy. He's the enemy, and you got to take it out on him. You got to take it out on him. And to me, Carson is still very dangerous. You could get, in one series, you could get fantastic Carson, unbelievable plays, jaw-dropping, and then you can get a series where he looks like he's never played the game before in his life. That's Carson Wentz. And when you look at Carson in big game situations, really, there haven't been that many for him. He had one versus the Los Angeles Rams back in 2017. He was fantastic, threw a touchdown on a torn ACL. After that, he had some good games to get into the playoffs of 2019. We weren't playing a whole bunch of teams. But then he got a concussion in the playoff game. When it mattered, he wasn't there for us. When he was in Indianapolis and he had to win versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, he stunk to bed. The whole team stunk to bed, but he really stunk to bed. Okay, now he's with Washington. We're going to see what he could do. This is a big game for Carson Wentz early in the season. Now, I think the NFL made a huge mistake schedule-wise. I think the first time Carson plays Philly, it should be in Philly. That sets the whole thing up because it just makes it that much more dramatic. He's getting to play the Eagles in Washington, which is technically Philly Stadium too, because it's probably going to be 60% Eagle fans because we usually take over Washington. I've been to 4 Eagles-Washington games in my lifetime in Washington. Every time, it was mostly Eagle fans there. Mostly Eagle fans. So, we'll see. But, he's still dangerous. He's got a big arm. And the guy that scares me the most on this team for Washington is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin has beat us in the past. Now, you look at the way our secondary has been playing, I feel confident about the matchup. But Terry McLaurin and Carson's arm could cause us problems, could cause us headaches. They could strike fast. We're going to have to take care of Terry McLaurin the way we took care of Justin Jefferson. But other than that, if you want to beat Carson Wentz, get pressure, get to him, hit him. He'll start playing hero ball. He'll start holding on that ball too long, and he'll either fumble the ball, take a bad sack, maybe even cough up a couple interceptions. You know, a lot of people think Carson Wentz throws a ton of interceptions. He had that one season, 2019, I think he threw close to 20, something like that. But he had 3 straight seasons of 7 interceptions. He had 7 interceptions last year. He's got 3 this year, but he's usually not a big interception guy. He actually is more of a fumbler. So you got to find a way to get pressure. We've got to get Haason Reddick going. Okay, I'm going to talk about this in another video because I think it deserves its own video talking about the defensive line. We've had, 2 sacks in 2 games? 1 was taken away, but we need to find a way to get pressure. And there's a lot of talk you're hearing about, like, who are we going to bring in to help the defensive line? I think part of it is Gannon, and I'll talk about this in another video. Gannon has to find a way to get guys going. Haason Reddick got to find a way to get going. They got to get him to the quarterback. So we got to find a way to start getting pressure. You get pressure on Carson Wentz, it's the same scenario as it was with Kirk Cousins. He will give up the play. He will fumble the ball. He'll try to play hero ball, and good things will come of it. But this week, they're going to act like, and you're going to hear it, Carson's chance for revenge against the Eagles. That could never be further from the truth. The truth is, it's the Eagles' revenge on Carson Wentz because he bailed out on us. He left us high and dry. Now, fortunately, it's worked out because we got a better quarterback. But at the time, he bailed. He didn't want to stay and fight. And I got to be honest, I lost respect for him when he did that. I wanted him to fight even if he lost the starting job. And he bailed. That's how I see it. That's how I vision the whole Carson Wentz scenario in Philly. That's the saga. Now, I will always love him in one aspect when he's not with Washington. I will always root for him because of 2017 and what he did to get us a Super Bowl. You can't win a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. That is the honest truth. You would have not have won a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz in 2017. So when he gets, let's say, he goes somewhere, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a team out there. He ends up, I was going to say Indianapolis. He ends up in Tennessee, right? Because Tennessee, well, they got Malik Willis. But let's say, wherever he goes, I will root for him like hell. As long as he's not playing the Eagles, and as long as he's not in the division. As long as that, I can't root for the guy. He's the enemy. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. I just wanted to say real quick that I'm sorry I haven't been able, in the last 2 videos I did, haven't really been able to respond to the comments. It's been kind of crazy for me with work and everything like that. I've been running around. I will try to go through this video as well as those 2 videos and answer as many comments as I can, probably all of them. So if I haven't answered a comment, that is my fault. It's been kind of crazy, and sometimes it'll take me a couple hours just to go through all those comments. So I just wanted to let you guys know so you know why I might not have responded yet. With that said, Denzel Washington out.